Grade 5 Science Performance Task. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the 2024 Science Performance Task. Let's read the introduction to the task. The pond and the factory. A scientist, Dr. Albert Williams, was interested in finding out if a newly built factory was negatively affecting a nearby pond. He believed that the factory may have released substances that can negatively affect the number of organisms in the pond environment. Dr. Williams spent months observing and collecting data from the pond and its environment. He needs your help to analyze the data he collected. Dr. Williams needs your help to classify organisms in a pond food chain, identify patterns in the data collected, observe, explain the observations made, use evidence to support conclusions. To collect the data, Dr. Williams selected 3 locations within the pond. He called these locations Site 1, Site 2, and Site 3. Site 1 was the furthest from the factory, and Site 3 was the closest to the factory. Dr. Williams collected all the data he needed from the 3 sites. The diagram below shows an overhead view of the pond environment and the 3 sites Dr. Williams selected. Overhead view of the pond environment showing the 3 sites. And we can see that site 3 is closest to the factory, site 2 is the second, and site 1 is the farthest away from the factory. Using a food chain. Dr. Williams gathered information on the feeding relationship he observed at each site. He then used the information to construct a food chain. The food chain is shown below. And we see the pond food chain, the energy is going in the direction for the birds. So the tadpoles eats the underwater grass. Then the dragonfly eats the tadpole. The small fish eats the dragonfly. And the bird eats the small fish. So use the food chain to help you to answer question 1A and 1B. Identify one consumer in the food chain. Now a consumer is any animal that eats another organism. So anyone could be a consumer. I'm just going to choose tadpole. But all the others, organisms in the food chain other than the underwater grass are consumers. Say while the small fish is classified as a carnivore, and support your answer with an example from the pond food chain. So the small fish is considered as a carnivore because it eats other animals. And in this case, it eats the dragonfly. So we can say that. So you can do it like this, or you can write it differently. I chose to write it like this, and it would still suffice. Let's move on to part 2. Analyzing data. Dr. Williams counted the number of organisms he observed at each site. Table 1 below shows the information. Use Table 1 to answer question 2A, 2B, and 2C. Number of organisms observed at each site. So I'm just going to let it stay there a little and then we can analyze the table. And I will refer back to it to answer our questions. Identify the pattern seen in the population of the tadpoles as Dr. Williams moved closer to the factory. And we know, you just remember that site 3 is the closest to the factory. So what's the pattern for the tadpoles? I see that there is a decrease in the number of tadpoles, so we can say that there is a decrease in the number of tadpoles. On to 2B. From the table, name one organism that appears to be unaffected by its closeness to the factory. Let's look back at it. It looks like the dragonfly because it doesn't matter which side the dragonfly is in, it's still the same number of dragonflies. So you can say dragonflies. Alright, now let's state why the organism you choose in 2B appears unaffected. The dragonfly, and we said it earlier, appears unaffected. Thanks for watching. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. The number of dragonflies did not change in the different sites. You can write this differently. I'm just choosing to write it in the fact. Plain and simple. The dragonflies did not change. It was 10 for each site, so we can just add that part. That it remained consistent. The number of dragonflies was 10 in all the sites. I could say that there were 10 dragonflies in all of the sites. Remain consistent. The number of dragonflies remain, let's just put in that it remained consistent. Remained consistent at as it was 10 in all the sites. So the dragonfly appears unaffected because the number of dragonflies did not change in the different sites. The number of dragonflies remained consistent. It was 10 in all of the sites. So now let's look at the next question. A section from table 1 is shown below. It shows the number of underwater grass patches observed at site 1, site 2, and site 3. Number of organisms observed at each site. So use the section of table 1 to complete the bar graph below. Draw and label bars to show the number of underwater grass patches observed at each site. You can say 28, then 18, and then 8. 28, it's not going to be drawn the neatest, but you'll get an idea of what should be done. 28, and then 18 is somewhere between 16 and 20. Don't have a ruler tool, I'm just drawing freehand. And this would have been 8. And then now we just label the sides. So side 1, side 2, side 3. Side 1, side 2, and side 3. So that's what your bar graph should look like. And clearly you're going to use your ruler to draw them in the examination. Now let's move on to number 4. Dr. Williams need your help to describe the pattern seen in the bar graph. Use the words or phrases labeled A to F below to correctly complete the statement. Describe the pattern seen in the graph. Indicate your response by shading the correct letters. Word or phrase midway between side 1 and the closer Dr. Williams got to, the farther away Dr. Williams was from. And we have increased, decreased, did not change. So let's read the statement now. Whichever one of these now, the factory, the number of underwater grass patches, dash, basically. So I'm saying that the closer Dr. Williams got to the factory, the number of underwater grass patches decreased. So that would be B and E. I hope you were able to follow this part. Alright, so let's look at part 3, which is the explanation and conclusion. Dr. Williams wanted to explain the pattern observed in the number of water grass patches as seen in the bar graph. To do this, he collected information he thought would help. So some of the information Dr. Williams collected including the pictures below. So the algae seen on the surface of the pond, and we have a factory drainage pipe in the pond. So in large amounts, algae can be harmful to organisms that live in water. The algae can block sunlight from entering the water, and algae usually grow to large amounts in waters that are polluted with waste matter or waste material. Dr. Williams also collected the information as seen in the table, which is the amount of algae growing in the pond surface at each site. It also shows how much sunlight is blocked by the algae at each site. So the amount of algae growing in the pond is low for site 1, and also for the amount of sunlight blocked by the algae. And then for site 2, it's moderate, and then site 3, it is high. So now using the information in table 2 to explain the pattern you've identified in question 4. So let's look at table 2 and question 4. So this is question 4, that the closer to the Dr. Williams got to the factory, the number of underwater grass patches decreased. And now let's look at the table. So towards the factory we had high algae growing, and also the sunlight was blocked. Let's use this information to answer question 5, which is that use the information in table 2 to explain the pattern you identify in question 4. In underwater grass decreased as let's just refer back, keep referring back to your questions. As Dr. Williams got closer to the factory, as the water was more polluted. It's really the pollution that is causing these plants and animals to change, more polluted. This is also shown in table, or confirmed table 2, as the site closest to the factory had I had
Thanks for
a
watching.
high number
Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel,
algae.
and hit that notification bell.
So let's read our answer. The underwater grass decreased as Dr. Williams got close to the factory, as the water was more polluted. This is also confirmed in table 2, as the site closest to the factory had a high number of algae. So that should help us with answering our question. So now we're moving on to final part. So after analyzing all the data he collected, Dr. Williams concluded that the factory is negatively affecting most of the pond organisms. Provide 2 details as evidence to support Dr. Williams' conclusion. Be sure to use the information Dr. Williams gathered. So the 2 details that can be used as evidence to support Dr. Williams' claim, because this is what he's claiming, or I'm just going to use claim, is that the animal, I remember even for the tadpoles, they decrease, right? The animals and plants decrease once they got to a site closer, or decrease in the site, or in site 3. So we can mention this like in site 3, which was closest to the factory. So that's the 1 detail. The algae was also high in number in site 3, and algae are algae are more popular or predominant in polluted water, which blocks blocking the sunlight, which is harmful to pond organisms. Alright, so let's read our answer now. The two details that can be used as evidence to support Dr. Williams' claim is that the animals and plants decreased in site 3, which was closest to the factory. And the next point is that the algae was also high number in site 3, and algae are more predominant in polluted water, blocking the sunlight, which is harmful to pond organisms. So there you have it, students. That's the end of the 2025 review of past papers. What we're going to move into now, and I really want you to stay tuned to the channel, is the 2025 papers that I've created or have found based on the 2025 teachers activity, which will contain the same topics that will come in your examinations. So I'm not quite finished with you yet, so you want to stay through to the end of this grade 5 practice. Until next time.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell.